Welcome. My name is John Eisen. I edit Uncensored. Thank you very, very, very much for coming. This is amazing. We did no publicity other than the email. So I guess word of mouth is happening, which is why I'm passing an email around. If you're not on our email, you want to get updates and stuff like that, just pop it on. We have a action-packed. Oh, look at that sound thing, Vinny. Look at that sound equipment.
I noticed.
Very expensive.
How much?
That's about $4,500.
$4,500. Okay. That's Vinny Eastwood over there. Vinny has a little filmmaking business, and he has a lot of very, very interesting videos. He likes to introduce himself as Mr. News. Don't take that too much to heart. It was a marketing decision on his part.
It stands for something.
Yeah, right.
Mr. MR means Media Revolution because they need to, be revolted against.
He's our alternative videographer and web guy. And as you may realize, this chap's sound equipment is over there, but then he doesn't have it. Okay, so all of the money that this is a $5 entry fee. So I'm going to ask you, if you don't have it, or you were surprised by it was on the email invitation. But if you don't have it, then gold coin or whatever. But if you do have it, we are collecting for the hall and the food, which is on the house, and anything left over goes to Vinny for his sound equipment fund, so he can do this videography of his and have really good sound, just like this chap here. Can you share your sound with Vinny?
Yes.
Cool.
No problem.
Oh my God.
That's the whole point of it.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that.
How to let this sort of thing go.
That's right.
On record.
Peeking in the doorway to you is Alec Newworld, not New World, but he's very orderly. Last but not least, this is a launch for our new edition, number 22. It's been 5 years now since we broke this story to New Zealand that 9/11 was an inside job, which is still news to all too many people in this country, but there is an awakening that is happening, and people are beginning to get it, that there is indeed an agenda here, and it's fairly nefarious. If you don't want to look that up, it means portentous in a bad sense. The 9/11 was indeed an inside job and was indeed abetted by, or even possibly led by, our friends in the Mossad, which is the Israeli secret thingy. Anybody here from the Mossad? Mossad? You? One? Okay. Cool. Mm-hmm. I don't know. She raised her hand. That's good.
We
Are you really?
Israeli passport deal.
Are you really from the Mossad? That's good.
It's the north side.
Oh, north side. No, that's good.
Yeah, but what's the fun? It's $10,000.
Anyhow, all of these magazines, we brought a bunch of back issues, and if you want to, we're running a huge special today. If you buy this brand new Just Hit the Stands issue, you get a free, that is free of extra cost, free copy of the last issue, which is just as good. So that's 2 for $10. That's amazing. That's really good. And somebody wanted 2 or 3 copies of the GE Sella vid. While I'm thinking about it, could you pass these back, please? That's all right. Now, we also have a special added. I hesitate to use the word attraction. That's a terrible word. But the cover story of the new issue, how many people have not seen this new issue? Not. Okay. Our cover story is Alan Smith was cured of swine flu with high-dose vitamin C. How many people did not see the 60-minute stories on Alan Smith? Raise your hand if you haven't seen it. You are in for a treat and a half, and possibly a life-saving treat. So pay attention. Very briefly, because I'm going to introduction to our next speaker, but I have to give you a little bit of background because there are people here who don't have it. In 1937, Hungarian Nobel Prize winner discovers vitamin C. His name is Albert Szent-Györgyi. They've known about the properties of vitamin C since, of course, the Limeys got their lesson about that a long time ago. 1948, a doctor by the name of Klenner, K-L-E-N-N-E-R, Klenner, discovers that intramuscular doses of vitamin C, about 25 grams, to polio patients, remember the old polio thing, you got 100% cure rate. 1948. He publishes this in the Southern Journal of Medicine, Atlanta, Georgia. And just about the time that Sabin and Salk were going after the polio vaccine, naturally they shut Klenner down, and the vaccine predominated. But that's the first known study that I know of, maybe there are others, where you had a controlled experiment, 1948, to shut down a virus that was crippling millions of people back then and killing a lot of them. This guy fixed it with intramuscular injections of vitamin C. How many people haven't heard of that story? Raise your hands if this is new to you. Okay, good. This is good that you're here. Because we're going to be delving into, we have two speakers today. I'm going to tell you who the second one is in a moment. We're going to be delving into this vitamin C story in a little bit of what you would call personal depth. Because the medical system doesn't tell you about Klenner's successful experiment with vitamin C and polio. The medical system doesn't tell you that Sabin and Salk helped to shut this down after Klenner had gotten invited to address the annual convention of the American Medical Association, and that invitation was rescinded. This is why I'm so angry. If anybody wants to know, there's been a cure for polio since 1948, and it turns out virtually every other viral illness, a lot of bacterial, a lot of fungal. You want a miracle drug, the magic bullet? It's been around for a long time. Now this is our cover story here. We have and it's about a gentleman by the name of Alan Smith. 60 Minutes ran the story. By the way, I'm just reminded that if you have the $5, we'll have a lovely lady going around passing the hat just like the church. Catherine, that's you, and we'll use your hat. That's good. So if you could start passing it around, that would be terrific. There was a church group in here just prior to us, and the vibe is great. It's really good. Anyway, back to the plot. Melanie Reed for 60 Minutes did a story on this man, Alan Smith. It turns out that Alan Smith had a serious case of swine flu. He was in the hospital. Read the story. He was on life support. They were going to pull the plug, and they told his family it's too late. We're going to pull the plug on him Friday. He had what's called whiteout pneumonia. Whiteout pneumonia is when you can't see the lungs in an X-ray. Okay? What? And yes, thank you. And while he was in hospital, they discovered, oh yeah, by the way, Mr. Smith, he also has hairy cell leukemia, right? Yes, right. The good news is that he has whiteout pneumonia. We're going to pull the plug, and the bad news is that he has, might as well, this guy's finished. Right? Wrong. Sonia Smith's brother had been studying about vitamin C and came up with the research that's out there for anybody who wants to look, right? A lot of it peer-reviewed. In fact, this study that I just mentioned by Dr. Klenner at the Southern Journal of Medicine is peer-reviewed. Southern Journal of Medicine is peer-reviewed. Polio eradicated. I shouldn't put that in the sushi now that I'm thinking about it. Never mind. Can't do everything. Okay, so Alan Smith, g'day, mate. Yeah, come on in. Alan Smith is what's now called a historical precedent. He's a great gentleman, but he's also a historical precedent. Because Alan Smith, who they were going to pull the plug on, take away his life support system, which was called the ECMO machine, right? They were going to pull the plug on this guy. They told the family said, no, wait. We got it. There's one last thing we didn't try. That's intravenous vitamin C. And of course, the doctors go, don't be ridiculous. Impossible. No studies. Nothing. There's no evidence. Right? That's what they tell. Of course, there's hundreds and hundreds of pages of evidence. This family actually fought the system, and they gave him the vitamin C. It's more complicated than this, but they gave him the vitamin C, and a day or two later, the lungs show up in the X-ray. Shortly thereafter, he starts breathing on his own. This guy's on the way to a cure. And, of course, if you saw the 60-minute stories, if you saw the 60-minute stories, they did 2 of them, for follow-up, you'll know that the hospitals, after it looked like he was going to pull through, that it was having an effect, they reduced the dosage without telling the family. My intro in this issue, the current issue, is entitled "The Medical System is a Sham." Face it, but it's more than a sham. The medical system in the United States, in the year 2000, according to the Journal of the American Medical Association, was the second leading cause of death. According to the Ministry of Health in New Zealand, 1998, on their website, the medical system itself was the third leading cause of death in New Zealand.
Not including accidents or malpractice.
Right.
That's when it's running perfect.
No, that does include that video.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
That's called medical misadventure. The fact of the matter is that never once in these hideously, shall I say, indicative statistics, never once do they tally in the cancers. They said number 1 is cancer, number 2 heart disease, 3, 4, 5, and 7 are all medical bullshit. Okay? And you add those up, it becomes number 3. Never once do they tally in the cancers that are actually caused by medical procedures such as vaccination. Caused. They don't look for it, so they never see it. When occasionally somebody cultures out something called SV40, which is simian virus number 40, which is the 40th virus that they discovered along the line from simians, monkeys, SV40, which was contaminating the polio vaccine. Here I am squaring the circle. Contaminating the polio vaccine, SV40, and they knew it in 1961, and yet they continued to do it. SV40 turns out to be carcinogenic. It's in the polio vaccine. You've got a cancer epidemic. They culture out this SV40 from the guts of people who, or the cancerous tumors of people who came down with, they have cancer, they look, SV40 is in there. Wonder how it got in there. It got in there from the vaccine, pure and simple. Anywho, this is a long way around my introduction to the gentleman who's on the cover of Uncensored for this month. He drove up from Otrahunga this morning as a surprise to me. It wasn't exactly a surprise. Somebody said we may come up, but I thought she'd call me. Right. There's nothing I really can say except this is a great honor not only to have met Alan and Sonia, but other members of his family. Sonia's brother was the one who had done the research, am I right, on the vitamin C, and they all stood up for Alan at the hospital and said, "No, we're not going to let you kill our father, our husband. No, try the vitamin C. What do you got to lose?" My thinking is that what they have to lose when they see and finally admit that this works, what they have to lose are billions of dollars of sales of vaccines, billions of dollars in sales of Tamiflu, and all the other antivirals and vaccines coming down the pipe. Ladies and gentlemen, if this story gets out, and it is getting out, Mercola.com, a very, very excellent website, has the full story of Alan's situation, his history, and it's gone viral. It's around the world. Okay, Uncensored, our website has lots and lots of pages, and that lady standing back there with her arms crossed in the pink, she runs a group called Vitamin C Can Cure.com. She's also very .org. I always get confused. .org. Got it. Anywho, I've taken up. Oh, look at that! I haven't taken up that much time yet. But I would like to give Alan an hour to speak with us and to discuss the situation. And Sonia, yes? No? No? Well, Alan at least. Alan Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't know I was going to talk today, but here I am.
Do you need water, Alan?
No. Do you need the good news or the bad news? The bad news is that all guys that are all in the cemetery are really sad. It is really sad because they are continuing today to kill people. And that's the guts of it all.
Can you speak up, please?
I said today they're continuing to euthanize people in the hospitals. It is stupid and crazy what is going on in there, because basically I've set the precedent, well, my family set the precedents for the Medical Society in New Zealand. When I was put on the vitamin C, it was not a registered medicine then. Now the reason I haven't told my story till now is that I knew that vitamin C was going to be a registered medicine. I was warned by the specialists to keep quiet, to let it happen, because they've been trying for over 5 years to get it as a registered medicine in New Zealand. Now this research is done, it's been over 70 years of literature and medical science out there proven. As we know, if you put a virus in a test tube, vitamin C in a test tube, the virus is instantaneously good. That's clinical improvement. Thomas Levy told me that himself.
Alan, can you speak up? These people can't hear. Sorry. Or maybe stand over there.
Okay. The fight that the family had was quite a difficult fight. They had several meetings, several nasty letters were sent to them that there was no hope. I had hairy cell leukemia, I had bacteriemia, and the death sentence of the swine flu. Now, in a nutshell, what I was dying of wasn't dying of swine flu at all. I was dying of lack of vitamin C in my system. It's formerly known in the Captain Cook days as scurvy, because the day before they put me on the vitamin C, I was bleeding from the mouth, the nose and the bowel, blood everywhere. My plate levels were way down, my blood pressure was off the scale, and they had actually given up hope. And the man here, Jimmy, was the man that had done the research. And I was very, very lucky. The good thing of is that my wife and Jimmy went to the Tauranga Hospital the other day, where I first was administrated to the hospital. We met the team there that looked after me, and they mentioned that they were cloning me in that hospital. Proning me. Turning me over on the stomach.
It's another twist to the caper.
Words right. Now, the letter that came to the family was that when the x-rays showed there was air in my lungs in 2 days with a high dose intravenous. They says possibly what made the best thing was that they proned me, turning me over onto my stomach. Now they're already doing that at Tauranga, and it didn't work. And the doctor lady told me that the other day that did not work. So maybe the guy David Gallagher may be right. The bus went by. But what I say is it's not safe to go by the buses today, because down Wellington they run you over.
Alan, tell the people who didn't see the story of Gallagher what he said.
He actually, the guy there was in denial of the intravenous and vitamin C. He obviously has never done any reading. He's never done any research. He obviously didn't know anything about vitamin C. Now, he basically said it could have been anything that happened. We have never denied the hospital for the research they did and the care they looked after me. They really did, in Auckland ICU, look after me. There is no doubt about that there. I went back to thank them. You could have eaten your dinner off the floor. It was that clean, and it smelt nice there too. Now the doctor there, he says that it could have been anything, just like the bus went by. Now Thomas Levy came up with the scenario there that maybe all the ICU units in New Zealand need to be taken down and re-established by the bus depot. So when all the buses come in, all the patients will be cured. Now,
Alan, tell him who this guy Gallagher is. Isn't he the head of the ICU?
He's head of one compartment of the ICU in Auckland. Now, they've continued to turn people off the machines there, and it's quite alarming. Yeah. And I've allowed myself to come out and be spoken out about the vitamin C because I am the living proof. And the reason I told the story was told because I wanted to help other people. And I couldn't believe in my wildest dream the night that we went to Auckland to the girls' college where Thomas Levy was talking that night. I walked out on the stage and there was 760 people in the room. Now that organisation was only in 5 days to organise that thing. I was blown away. I did not realise how. Now we've had calls from Switzerland, Ireland, the States, Australia, all around New Zealand. And I had an ad up the other day. There's only about 12 days have gone past when my phone hasn't rung for somebody with cancer, viruses, tumours, they have sores on them, and they're looking for help. Now, you're probably wondering what I'm doing, what I'm taking. I'm still taking the Liposomal. The Liposomal is not an intravenous vitamin C. It's a capsulated form in an egg yolk in sachets. Now, how we come to find out about this is the man that got us into Centre of Advanced Medicines. They were the specialist that helped the hospital. And he's the man, that John Appleton is the man that sells that. And that is in a capsulated form. It gets into the membranes of the body and it's slow releasing into the body. And I'm still taking 4 grams of that a day. I'm taking a tablet of Q10. That's for anything to do with respiratory problems. It will help with the valves in your heart, clean your arteries in your body. And also I'm taking a vitamin D. Now your vitamin D is very, very essential to our blood levels. we underestimate all that. And I'm also taking a vitamin tablet as well. Now, they say, how long am I taking it for? I do not know. We go to the specialist in Hamilton every 3 months, and he does a blood test on me every 6 weeks, and there is no sign of early cell leukemia in my body anymore. So, whether they call it the miracle drug or whatever you want to do, it's not just a thing as a miracle drug, it's actually proven in science that it will kill viruses in your body. It will starve the tumours of cancer from the blood cells. Now, there's a lady down south in the South Island doing research on cancers. And there's all sorts of things you can do for cancers, like there's antiplastines that will cure brain tumours. And there's a whole lot of cures in that sort of field. But look, the only thing I can really say to you is that we need to get a research done in New Zealand under New Zealand standards for this vitamin C. Now, the hospital at Tauranga the other day started to mention about they were doing a trial on it, and then they clamped up very quickly when I showed very good interest in that. So I sort of didn't go there anymore. Now, I'm helping the Freedom of Health people. Nicola Grace is the lady up the back that's in charge of that. And we are talking about trying to get a trial done in Whangarei Hospital. Now, my son Paul flies to New Zealand, and he's going to Liposomal, and they are showing huge interest on funding money for us in New Zealand. Also, my old lawyer, which is a judge at Rotorua, he's got a friend that is interested in putting large numbers in it. I've come up with the idea that I want to go to the insurance companies to say to the insurance company, we need $20 million. And then we're going to go to John Key and the Ministry of Health and get the rest. And if in denial, I put it to them that they're very one-eyed, because basically, how many more people are going to die? Unnecessary. It's very simple to work out, you see.
Hi, my name's Nigel Harrison. I'm the physician up at Whangarei, and we have just got ethics approval to do a mega dose IV vitamin C trial in a proper randomised, double-blind, controlled fashion, which is in patients with severe infections of the skin, something called cellulitis. And so we hope to be recruiting patients as of February, and I would anticipate that it'll take a year to do the trial. But the problem with a lot of the vitamin C story is the lack of definite evidence that the benefits that are seen couldn't have occurred by chance alone. And that's where the gold standard of a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial is what the medical profession are really only listening to. And there's an absence of trials like this. There's enormous amounts of evidence of benefit in individual people, thousands of vitamin C injections given in the Centre of Advanced Medicine in Auckland with apparent benefit, but none of it's been done against a placebo. And until we know whether it's actually the vitamin C working or whether it's a placebo, you're going to have difficulty convincing a lot of the skeptics.
Excuse me.
And that's why I want to do this trial.
Maybe you didn't hear. 1948.
Oh, I know about Fred Clement.
That's gold standard, double-blind, placebo, success. 1948.
Sure, that's one.
Oh, yeah. I have about 200 or 300 more on our website.
Well,
and I published in the current issue again, gold standard, done before, when doctors or their spokespeople say it's never been done, no evidence, I'm wondering, what about all the stuff I've come up with myself on the net?
Oh, sure. Yeah, and I'm not defending my colleagues who have said there's no evidence. On the contrary, the reason I'm trying to get some evidence is the reason I'm doing this trial.
Well,
And
anyway, have a look at this.
The human factor here is that the hospital have done a trial in New Zealand, and it was a 3-stage trial, and I'm at. The factual is that they did the vitamin C at high dose intravenous, and then they took me off the ECMO. I was breathing on my own. They took me off and never told the family.
That's right.
The body started to die. If I was dying. Oh, the vitamin C, sorry. And after the ECMO. Then they got me back on it, only at 2 grams per day on a small dose. That took a long time to get me out of the ICU unit. They took me down to Hamilton, flew me down the helicopter. They had me there for 2 or 3 days there, then took me off it again, not telling the family again. Because my wife was an ex-nurse that worked for the White House. Being nosy, they picked it up very quickly. And they didn't muck around this time, because they knew they were going to lose me, because it didn't look very good. So they got Meishing involved and stuck the law into them and absolutely put them on their knees, because basically if they had lost me, they would have been done under the Crimes Act. Now the Crimes Act sits at 151, which states failing to supply the necessaries of life under the Hippocratic oath. Now that carries a 7-year jail sentence, and that actually frightened them, you see.
Do you know who the individual was that made the decision to reduce your
No, well,
vitamin C?
yeah, I don't really want to revolve his name actually at this stage, because we have got law procedures going on with the hospitals.
What's the major costs involved with giving somebody 2 grams of vitamin C, and where is the source? What is the source?
It is that much. It's so cheap. It is so cheap that the pharmaceutical can't afford us all to be sick, all to be healthy people.
That's right.
There's no money in it. The oil companies and the pharmaceutical companies are the richest people in the world.
Profit makers. The question is, what is the actual source? Oranges? Where's the vitamin C coming from? I'm not sure.
I'm actually told that the liposomal is made from the base core of corn. But what the actual vitamin C, where that comes from, I do not know.
They did that with the corn. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
All the molecules are there.
I'm not with the chemical science on that.
So they basically wanted you to die, did they?
Yes.
They did. They basically had given up, because basically I was virtually dead. Because then, as you know, if you read the medical journal about scurvy, once you start to bleed from the mouth, the nose, and you lose your teeth, well, I've already lost my teeth though, and the gums go red, you normally have 3 days to live after that. So my death sentence was very, very close. So, as my youngest son said, what have we got to lose here? And I think that made a difference. Now, the good news of all that is that I have a meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock with the main doctor that put me on the ECMO, and we do not know who the man was in that hospital that was wanting to try it. And we think the man I'm going to see tomorrow is the guy. We're absolutely adamant he is the man. And he is very, very keen to see me talk. And he's in the ICU.
Could you speak up, please?
Yeah, I believe I rang once a medical association that she asked if doctors actually have to take an oath. And I was told he's not aware, he's not sure, can't remember. So when you say in the Crimes Act, it would only apply if an oath was taken. So if they don't take these oaths anymore, they cannot be held accountable.
I understand that doctors, they got to swear on a Hippocratic oath that they have to do all which is harm, to give medicine to people that will do no harm. Their way out is to say that, okay, no, vitamin C is going to cause renal failure, so I can't give that to them. Now, renal failure is only because if you've got kidney stones in your body, and you give it intravenous in high doses of vitamin C, it's going to react with crystals in the urine. Now, females get that when they're pregnant. So, do you really want to have a renal failure, or do you want to have a meeting with the minister in a box? You have the option.
Yeah. I just meant, is there actually clear evidence that these people actually make an oath?
They do.
So you know that for sure?
Now, the other thing is that the Tamiflu, to my knowledge, has never had a clinical trial.
Neither has the ECMO.
The ECMO hasn't either.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
But if I didn't have the ECMO, I wouldn't be here today.
Maybe the bus company can fund a study.
Maybe.
Yeah, Stagecoach Pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
When you were in a coma or you were out of it, can you remember anything from any experience?
Nothing. The only thing that was happening, I just think it was when I was waking up. They took 6 days to get me out of the coma. I was dreaming, and yeah, they were pretty amazing dreams.
Don't know what to talk about it.
Yeah, we said to talk.
Could I just interject here for the doctor? We run on page 77 a screenshot of PubMed, and the title of the study that they're doing is The Effectiveness of Vitamin C in Preventing and Relieving the Symptoms of Virus-Induced Respiratory Infections. This is...
Now we had a neighbour of ours in the Waikato Hospital just recently that had an infection in his lungs. He had a heart operation and he got an infection. He went home. He was back there, and they had basically told the family that he had a day to live, he was going to die. Now I went to that ICU meeting and they saw me walk in the room and they didn't want me in the room. Now they waited half an hour for their lawyer to turn up. So now that's okay with me, huh? So I have to wait what words I use. So anyway, I challenged them that if this man was to die and the family had been harping on, they wanted vitamin C into him to kill that virus he had. They then gave in. In 36 hours, that man was sitting up in bed. So, and that man just poured Liposomal into him in huge doses. In that last week he was there, and he's home now, mowing the lawn, shifting his cattle on his farm. And he's 83 years of age. So, if you get the flu, things I can advise you, go and get on the website, the John Appleton Associates, get a box of Liposomal. It'll cost you $46 for a box, I think it is today. And if you've got pneumonia, I can vouch because I treated a person in home with it, a very good friend of mine. He ate the whole box in 3 days. He went back to work on the 4th day. He didn't take any more. On the 5th day, he was nearly back, and he was thinking of going to hospital because he was so critical. He got 2 more boxes. He ate the rest of the 2 more boxes within 7 to 8 days, and you can see him now. It's awesome. So if you get the flu, all you got to do is take 4 to 8 grams a day of the thing. Just put a little bit of orange in the glass, tip it in, and you'll be well.
Did you know that you had hairy cell leukemia before you went in?
No.
No symptoms.
What was happening was the hospital had mentioned that they couldn't do anything for me. They didn't know what was wrong because their drugs weren't working. Now, when they tested for the hairy cell leukemia, they wrote the letter saying that we have diagnosed it as hairy cell leukemia. I'm not sure the way to look at the words, but if that's all I've got, I cannot survive. It is impossible. They brought this ECMO specialist over from America, basically to convince the family, turn me off. And he said, turn him off. He's finished. Yes.
It's quite interesting. There is a medical condition of the lungs called mycoplasma, and I just heard of that.
No, that's not a medical condition.
Well,
mycoplasma.
Well, it's a thing of the
you
lungs.
can get an infection from mycoplasma.
Well, the thing is that the doctors so far when I've asked about it, they refer to it as a postnasal drip. And many have a postnasal drip. However, it is also called mycoplasma pneumonia, and it's of the upper respiratory. So would that fit in with this?
I had what they call, like John said, I had fly-out pneumonia, and basically it was into the fact of the swabbing was swine flu that I had. And I also had hairy cell leukemia with bacteria pneumonia. And yeah, I had like what you call a three-way whack. And I basically have slipped through the cracks like a rat, you could say. So basically, I was very lucky that the family fought so hard. So that was it. But the factual of it was there was an alternative medicine in New Zealand. But now it's a registered for injections. IV.
That Liposomal Vitamin C, I was up at the Advanced Medical Clinic in Remuera getting a vitamin C infusion, and I saw the box and I bought it. Yep, $46. And 2 weeks later, I picked up the flu and I got stuck into that box and I knocked it on the head in 4 days.
That's right.
And I just took it straight from the satchels. Yeah.
Yes, another lady there asked the question. What's the question? Anyway, is any other questions? Yes.
Are you planning to write a book?
Yes, my old lawyer, Wally Bain, and Rotorua wants to write the book. He wants all my notes. I've got a box. You know, that it's absolutely full. Jared Lewis is a retired doctor, and he's helping us with a case in conjunction with the Whangarei Hospital with the trial now. In that, the book won't get written for at least another year now, because we've got ongoing concerns with the CPC and the Auckland District Health Board, because we've been in conjunction talking to them.
What's the CPC, please?
Well, it's a clinical practitioner trials that Margaret Whistler made a false statement about vitamin C. And Jared Lewis has torn holes in that. So, yeah, that's just something that will sort itself out. But the trial within what we want to do with Whangarei Hospital, at Whangarei Hospital, we want to do a 3-stage trial. We want to do a proper 3-stage trial. I don't really care how much money we spend here, but we want to do it properly. And we want to show the world, because basically, as Thomas Levy said to us the night at the meeting, for goodness sake, don't let your brothers, Australia, take this chance off you. Because he said New Zealanders took the America's cup off them. The All Blacks are unbeaten. You won't say anything about the cricket. But, you know, we've been known as pensioners, you know, as to speak. And, hey, if we can get that clinical trial up and running and prove to the nation that there it is. It's already been done. The trials have been done. But if we can do a New Zealand clinical trial in the 3-stage and massive stages. Now, there is a woman down, as I said, down South Island that's doing one on cancer. And, yeah. Yes. What is it, Gladys?
Yes, could you please spell out the name of the syrup and also the name of the doctor that it's available from, because we didn't get that info back here.
If you go to Centre of Advanced Medicines up Remuera here.
It's 110 Remuera Road.
Yeah, 110 Remuera Road.
Let's see what's the name of the vitamin C. John Appleton.
It's Liposomal.
Liposomal syrup?
It's a syrup.
You're talking about all medication. Tell me. But I mean,
SPHERIC.
tell me what.
The Liposomal is the most powerful from the intravenous.
All of this.
I know.
And you're paying this money.
SPHERIC.
Because the Liposomal is actually in a capsulated form. Now, if you have intravenous, 4 hours and it's gone through the system. This will last a lot longer.
And what was that man's name?
The John Appleton.
The website's appletonandassociates.com.
With the liposyrup, you're talking about 4 grams. What's in each of those satchels?
It's 1 gram in a satchel. Yeah, there's 30 in a box. And I've had people just take one and think, oh, it's not good. I don't know. Your body's screaming for it. You've got to get it in you. And it will not do you any harm. You can eat the whole box in one day if you want to.
Yeah.
And probably give you dysentery. But
That doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. You know, the basic fact is you can take in the right form.
Do you have anything to do with wheatgrass?
With what? Wheatgrass.
Wheatgrass.
No.
No, not yet.
No, nothing about it.
What?
Yes, Julie?
Liposyrup is not recommended just to confirm for people with kidney stones.
Louder, please. Nobody can hear you.
Liposyrup is not recommended for people with kidney stones. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. You can still take the liposyrup, but the intravenous is at high doses. We're talking 100 grams.
Okay.
And you can go up to 200 grams. And in my case, I don't know why they didn't strand me up to 200 grams. But they didn't really know. I don't think they really knew what they were doing because Centre Advanced Medicines were there dying to try it.
Well, see, only medicine that I know of that has no known lethal dose, so you can take a heck of a lot of it.
There is now we have a guy at Cara. His whole arms, his legs were all got sores on. My son went to him and I said to Paul, take a box to him, give him a box and get him to buy some more. Now I think he's on his 3rd or 4th box. Sores are all gone. And he's been for years on antibiotics and all sorts of drugs from the doctors to get rid of him. And they said, it's finished. And it's wiped it out the system, out of him. It's got rid of it. And even the doctors down there are in disbelief. They cannot believe it.
What sort of rate is he taking them?
He's taking 6 grams a day, that guy.
6 grams.
And he's about 65, 66 years of age. He's a married guy. And, yeah, and you see him, he's looked really healthy.
My concern...
Louder, please. Cheap seats.
I said my concern with the medical profession actually doing the trials is that often things can be done within scientific research which will affect the results, i.e. like not disclosing what the ingredients of the placebo are and that kind of thing.
So they may cheat.
So what I'm saying is I'm concerned that they may cheat, and I'm wondering if you are able to put things in place so that they don't cheat.
That's exactly what will happen. That's why we want a third-stage trial where it'll be under supervision and scrutiny. And that's the only way. Otherwise you're just mucking around with science and you can be biased or you can be the other. So the man over here, I didn't know he was coming today. I'm keen to meet him.
I'm Sonia here. I honestly don't think they'll cheat because when they did give it to Alan, they did everything professionally exactly right. Like Jim said, I'm really impressed. They even got a cloth and covered it up to keep the light off it. And there was no mucking around, Jim. They did exactly right how it was meant to be with all the protocol of it.
Except when they took them down to 2 grams.
Yeah, well, when they did take him off, I did not know for a day or so because I said to his nurse, I said, oh, has he had his vitamin C today? And they said, oh no, they stopped it yesterday. And immediately the pickles picked up on the back of my neck. And I said, right, who's on? Who's a consultant? I want a meeting. And Paul, our son, happened to be there at the time. And that meeting was a real... I really was going to punch that guy. I was just got so annoyed with him. He just sat back, rolled his eyes, said, not putting him with vitamin C, doesn't do any good. Nah.
Was he a Kiwi?
No, he was not.
Yes, foreigner.
Bloody
from Iraq.
He was not, and
Kiwis would never do that, right?
Well, Kiwis, you can talk to them.
And I was so disgusted with this guy, and that meeting actually had to be stopped because it got quite heated. So, but I did feel sorry for Paul. He just sat there quietly and persevered and persevered. He had some documentation of the benefits of it and stuff that had come through right with vitamin C on some trials. Well, not so much trials, but some people, there was just some evidence. And but Paul said, look, all I ask you to do is read it then. Just read it. And Paul handed it to him and this guy threw it on the table. And Paul picked it up and he said, well, I'm not going to give it to you if you don't tell me you're not going to read it. He said, because I'll just take it away. But if I think I'm going to walk out the door, you're going to throw it in the bin? He said, I'm not going to leave it here. So the guy did take it. The nurse said to him to take it. And when I went back to see Alan, it was on his massive big trolley that he had where they write his notes every few minutes. And I said to his nurse, I said, has he been reading that? And he said, yeah, he has. He'll come in now and again, he has a read. And 2 days later, he was back on vitamin C. Didn't tell me. And I just said to the nurse, is he on his vitamin C yet? And they said, yeah. And I said, how much is he getting? A gram twice a day, 2 grams a day. So he's just slowly going along. But, excuse me, he never got taken off it again in Auckland. It wasn't until he got to Waikato Hospital that they took it off. And I said, why have you done that? And they said, well, he's come down with all these little bottles, little brown bottles of stuff. We don't know what it is. So we stopped it. And so, right, this is it. We got hold of Mei Ching then and got involved. But once he started waking up, he was still in intensive care. I was just feeding him like a spirit myself. And they said, you can't do that. And I said, you don't tell me what to do. I'll give it to him, all right. I said, I'll just keep it in my bag and I'll give it to him. One doctor actually said to me, he said, you know, you can be held up for patient abuse. I said, I don't care. I said, this is my husband. I want to keep him alive. I said, you know, we've got 8 little grandchildren. We got the 9-month-old, the 9th one was on the way. I said, you know, they love their papa. So I said, you can do to me what you like, but I'm going to keep him alive if you're not.
Good on you.
Did we give him glutathione as well?
I'm not sure if glutathione.
Yeah, but I just keep giving it to him.
And vitamin D.
That's right, we do too.
In what form was the vitamin D called calciferol or?
Yeah, vitamin D3. Yeah.
Yes. So because that's often counterindicated with lungs, with lung problems, and you said that he. Why not?
Are you reading that research from Sweden or something like that?
Yes.
I don't know. All I do know is if your vitamin D levels are low, well then you're asking for trouble, you know. But they have to be right to help fight cold and flus. But vitamin C is a crucial thing. Your body screens for it, you know. That's the first thing and stuff. So.
What about just the over-the-counter vitamin C, the 1,000 milligram tablets you buy?
Well, I think the question is, for those of the cheap seats, wouldn't vitamin C from over-the-counter do as well? And the answer is obviously not. It wouldn't do as well.
Getting some vitamin C into your system is crucial. That's what it boils down to and stuff. It's a case of getting enough into your system to do the job. You know, like taking a couple of tablets a day is not going to do the job if you've got body pneumonia like Alan had. You know, you've got to take hundreds of grams possibly, or 50 grams, this sort of thing. You know, you've got to beat the virus. And as Claire and that well states in any of his papers and stuff, and that you've got to dose the right amount. And it's like antibiotics. It's no good taking antibiotics for an infection or whatever, and only taking a little wee bit off the side sort of thing that you're not expecting it to do the job sort of thing. So
also there's the bowel tolerance issue here. When you take regular vitamin C, and you can reach something called bowel tolerance. You start getting diarrhea, okay, if the body can't utilize for one reason or another. Which is why when I've been very sick, I went for intravenous vitamin C, whacked it right here, and up to 100 grams, and it did the job for me. And it bypasses the bowel tolerance reflex.
Yes, yes.
We have about 5 minutes
Do we
left.
need to be concerned about synthetic vitamin C?
Very much so.
How do we assure that what we're getting is what we expect, the real stuff?
Well, I can assure you, if you were to deal with John Appleton in Takapuna, that man knows more than what doctors know about in medical science, and let alone research that man has done.
You need to call the manufacturers if you're unsure.
Yes.
I have heard of a study that with
Louder,
vitamin C synthetic, and most of it was found in the urine within 2 hours. That it just goes through the body, doesn't know how to utilise it.
I believe that with the synthetic, well, I know with the synthetic citric acid, that the T3 cell won't change to a T4 cell, and I don't know what that means, but it's something to do with the body's working.
Everything that you get today, to my knowledge, and Gary can confirm or deny that, is what they would call synthetic vitamin C. The stuff they drip in my arm is synthetic vitamin C. By synthetic, it's derived in a lab, in a very large lab, from corn, molecule. Okay? They rearrange the molecule, which isn't very difficult, and they get their ascorbic acid, and then they buffer that. Am I right so far, Gary? The old days of getting natural versus synthetic are over, unless you get it from a crate or a ton of oranges. But biochemically, I don't believe that there's any difference, and Gary can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Biochemically, is this right? There's no difference between the corn-derived and the orange-derived?
Well, I was going to say, people who do want a natural source, live stream, and I don't have any financial interest in it, but I just happen to notice that they now have on the market an acerola-derived vitamin C.
I think only part of that's acerola. I don't think the whole thing is acerola.
Right. Well, anyway, you can, some manufacturers do. Acerola is a full fruit's very high in vitamin C. That's one way of getting it naturally. In terms of the debate between, is it better to have the sort of the nature identical ascorbic acid that's been synthesized in a lab using cornstarch in the base, or is it better to get it from some sort of natural source? According to Dr. Levy, there doesn't seem to be any difference in practice. The one thing that I've seen that interests me, that suggests a difference, was actually in Joan Donnelly's book, which showed it was sort of photographs of vitamin C crystals and looked at the energy fields of them. And there was a difference in terms of the energy field of the synthetic vitamin C versus the naturally derived vitamin C, which was probably from citrus or acerola. I can't actually remember.
Just as a finishing note, I'd like Nicola to come up here for a few minutes. Thanks for the opportunity.
I'd just like to say one more thing. If you're worried about the lipospirit, I give it to our grandchildren. My son came in one day and I've got some in a syringe. I had my 11-month-old grandchild in my arms and she had this awful yucky green nose. So I had this in a syringe and I put it down her neck and she was getting half in the morning and half in the afternoon of one sachet. In 3 days she was as good as gold.
That'll prove to you that
it doesn't harm anyone. It hasn't harmed her at all anyway.
Why can't we just eat oranges and lemons?
Well,
it's not enough. 22 supermarket oranges for 1 gram.
No, I'm talking about having a tree in your garden.
One of these sachets is just about a whole tree.
22 supermarket oranges to get 1 gram. You need at least 5 a day.
Sorry, I think that, I don't know all about nutrition, but I think that you can get it from your diet first, but in cases when you are critically ill, you have to supplement.
You're absolutely
You will not get it from your diet.
You're absolutely right. It's a nutritional diet that's gone out the window today. The food we're eating is crap, is to speak. And that's what we do. We are actually killing ourselves we're not helping ourselves. Anyway, I'd like to take this opportunity. I've got a check here from Nicola. It's $600, and that's my wife told her story to Lucky Break,
Just a woman's
and
magazine
we've
last
donated
week.
the process to Nicola for the Freedom of Health.
Vitamin C, thank you.
Oh,
And
that's
vitamin C, thank you.